Welcome back, everybody. Once again, this is Marc Lawrence. Happy Thanksgiving weekend to you and yours. And we're here on Against the Spread to keep your winnings intact throughout this Thanksgiving weekend. I'm going to be joined, as always, as I do, with Jim Feist, the legend himself from Las Vegas. Andy Iskoe will be joining us from Las Vegas in just a moment or two, and Greg DePalma from Prime Sports Network. First of all, Jim, how was your Thanksgiving day?
Too much food, too much celebration, but I did have a couple winners, which I was happy about. The only loser I think I had anyway, it was a good day. And I'm looking forward to a good, winning, happy, relaxing Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. If it's possible to relax when you're looking at your money, whirling around, circling the drain and hoping it doesn't really go down.
Yeah, with every turnover, right?
Right.
Greg, I asked you earlier about your Thanksgiving. I'm glad you had a good Thanksgiving as well. It was called to my attention, and I didn't even realize this, but all three underdogs won straight up in the NFL on Thanksgiving Thursday. And I looked at my database to find the last time it happened, and it didn't. I've never seen that happen. All three underdogs win straight up. Was that a surprise to you, Greg?
Actually, when you looked at the games, they really shouldn't have been because, of course, Green Bay, we know how good they are, so that was an easy one. But the way Dallas had been playing and the way the Chiefs had been playing, that was not really a surprise. And the Bengals one, I think the biggest surprise with the Bengals game against the Ravens was how well the Bengals defense played. And I think that, look, there is no way the Bengals are that if Joe Flacco was still the quarterback, that they're just not going to be that hyped up. It was a hyped up Bengal team. They were getting their savior back, and they looked at the standings and said, "Hey, if we win every game and go 9-8, we got a shot." And after the way that things have gone for them over the past 6 weeks or so, you can see why they were just fired up to play. If their defense can play like that every game, they do have a shot.
Yeah, they do, especially with Joe Burrow being back. They look like they were all charged up. Nice debut by Burrow coming back just like that. Andy Iskoe, Las Vegas. Are you still nibbling on that turkey, or is that in the past?
I've gotten by the apple pie, however.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Nice. Real nice. Well, guys, let's get into
Unfortunately, there were more turkeys on the field than were on my plate yesterday, unfortunately.
Oh boy.
But you asked the question about the surprise. The Bengals defense played well, but I think a lot of it had to do with just how badly the Ravens offense played, and Lamar does not look anything like the Lamar that we saw, in week one. And I have to believe that there's some injury that's still going on that maybe either hasn't been revealed, which would create a lot of fines, or perhaps maybe not properly diagnosed by the medical staff.
Yeah, he doesn't look the same, that's for sure.
At some point, we have to wonder about the coaching staff for the Ravens. They've had some awkward...
Harbaugh's have been around for a long time, 17, 18 years.
And he leads the league in lost a double-digit fourth quarter leads. And, they have disappointed so much in the last couple of years in the playoffs and stuff and big games. I'm wondering about this coaching stuff. You can't all put it on the players.
If it weren't for Buffalo, we'd be hearing the same thing about Baltimore. We always hear about Buffalo. They can't be Kansas City. Baltimore's been just as unsuccessful in the playoffs.
Well, yeah, exactly. But they never have been as successful as anybody expected because of Josh Allen. They all thought that Josh Allen's being underutilized. I don't know if Lamar is, but Lamar's got there a couple times. He just has underperformed. Again, we have to look at the coaches too. I'm not sure where the blame goes, but it's been a little bit ugly.
And remember, for the last couple of years, Lamar Jackson's had Derrick Henry, one of the a Hall of Fame running back, which would take the pressure off of the Ravens, especially with Lamar's running ability to compensate for Derrick Henry not have to carry the full load with the running game.
Yeah, but he's a culprit that's contributed to their turnover as well.
Well, yeah, the fumbles, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess the only answer to yesterday's game, none of us realized that Burrow plays defense.
Defense. Oh, yeah. I mean, he put on a great display, didn't he?
Well, he sure motivated the defense.
Yes, he sure did. That was nice to see. I'm a big.
Do you think that people will now finally get what we say every year about the Super Bowl jinx? Because it's even happening to the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
And it looks like officially or unofficially that they may be done. That it's going to take probably them winning out.
And there are some steps, there are challenges along the way.
Yeah. So
I got to thank Toma for you're welcome to Toma, who's watched the DeMarco show, saw the I like Cincinnati +8, and he got it and he won.
Yeah.
Real nice.
I'll tell you what, and remember, I don't know if you guys talked about it before, if we mentioned in the past. Remember last year, Cincinnati was 4-8, and they won 5 straight games, lost out on tiebreakers. I think it was with Denver, but they were 9-8. So they ended up with a record that some years might qualify for the wild card, some years might not. But they won their last 5 games, and they, I believe it was 5-1. I think Denver, a win over Denver, I think was one of them actually. But so it wouldn't have been a tiebreaker with Denver. It might have been a 3-way tie or something.
Well, they got to beat Buffalo and Baltimore again the next 2 weeks, but after that, everything's a win for them. So, we may.
And we know their history against Buffalo.
Yes, we do.
And Josh Allen's not happy about that history.
No, he's not.
I got to read this question, general question for panel. 10 years ago, there were 8 first-round ballot Hall of Fame quarterbacks. Now hardly any. How does Medicare quarterback play affect your capping?
Medicare?
Yes, that's hilarious.
That's a good one.
It doesn't work.
It's actually mediocre, but we'll take Medicare as well.
Hey guys,
Brady, I think, was an exception to that rule. He played well up until the end.
Yes, he did. Before we move into the show here, I want to share with you something that I put in the coffee club this morning, and it's a little bit of a repeat from Charles Barkley. He's back on stage again, and he's
thank goodness for that.
Yes, he is. But he's again confirming the fact that he detests the fact that the NCAA is allowing these kids to bet on pro sports games. He's absolutely gone wild about it. And I'm going to read you some of the stuff he said. I put this in the coffee.
Well, we got the clip, Mark.
Oh, you got okay. Well, then play that clip if you would, Greg. Okay.
Just let me know that we need to do something about the NCAA, where they announce that they're gonna let college players bet on pro sports. If that's not the stupidest shit, you talk about putting your kids in the kitchen and turning the stove on. Like, you can't even. Like, when I heard that, I said, this got to be a joke. This got to be a joke. I mean, these are the people we got running college sports now. We want to know why it's a shit show. I mean, anybody think that's a good idea should have their head examined. Like, why would you even do that if you're the NCAA? Like, are you serious right now? You think that's a good idea? Because we've already got issues going on with kids gambling now when they shouldn't be gambling. I mean, this is just crazy.
He is 100% right.
There's no question, Andy. It's time for the NCAA to get off their rear end and become the governing authority that they're supposed to be. It's we can talk about this subject till the cows come home, but it's going to go up in flames. But it has to be. I think the fire's got to be put out on this sooner than later.
I've never heard anything so stupid in my life.
Incredible.
Well, the NCAA must have, because this.
That's what I thought. I had seen that the other day in response to, well, not Charles's comments, although it probably played some factor because it probably woke up some guys in the NCAA. But I believe that that was the right thing to do.
Yeah, they obviously heard more than just Charles Barkley, so they've decided to rescind the rule allowing bets on pro sports. As you can see here, it says the staff will not be allowed to bet on professional sports after the organization's membership voted. This was a couple weeks ago, actually about 10 days ago. Actually, it might have been last week, to rescind a rule change that would have permitted those bets. The move follows a string of high-profile gambling cases. And, of course, we all know what they are. And they talk about all that right here. says the rule change to allow gambling on pro sports would have taken effect November 1st, but under a rarely used rule, each Division I school was given 30 days to vote to rescind the proposal since it was adopted by less than 75% of the Division I cabinet. More than 2/3 of the Division I members needed to vote to stop the rule change, and that bar was reached on Friday, which was last week. So,
you say November 1st or December 1st? Because November 1st.
So it must have been next year.
So or was it already going on?
I said November 1st, so that was for next year. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it didn't say for this year or next year, but one assumes it had to be for next year. But some people might have interpreted that it was retroactive.
All right, guys, let me share with you a couple of stats from the midweek again, if I can, and then we're going to tear apart the National Football League a little bit on the card this week, as I always do, talk about the NFL playoff picture as it exists today as we're speaking here right now. And we're beginning to see the Kansas City Chiefs falling into the twilight zone. The question is, can they rebound if the playoffs were to start this particular weekend? Number 2, Denver would be playing number 7, Chicago. With number 1, they would be playing Chicago. Number 3, the Colts playing the number 7, Jacksonville Jaguars.
The Broncos are in the AFC.
Yeah, AFC.
So why would they play Chicago? You said Chicago, didn't you? Chargers, maybe.
I've got the Colts playing the Jaguars, three against 6.
Yeah.
And number 4, Baltimore playing number 5, the Chargers. In the NFC, it's the number 2 Eagles. They've lost their grip on the first seed against the number 7 49ers. The number 3 Bears, Chicago Bears, surprising team this year, taking on the number 6 Packers, who appear to be a team on the rise and the come right now. And the number 4 Tampa Bay Bucks, who are stuck in that number 4 seed only because
someone has to be.
Yeah, because they're leading the division. So somebody's got to move forward there. But that football team is in a world of hurt right now, taking on the number 5 Seattle Seahawks. Any thoughts or ideas here, guys, about what's happening as far as the seeding goes? We're seeing.
By the way, what do you think that line would be? Seattle at Tampa Bay. By how much do you think Seattle would be favored? 3.5, 4?
Well, Jim, you can answer this because if it was today, it would be based on Tampa Bay's condition, which has been ragged a lot because of their injuries, and it shows in the stats because they've been out-yarded 7 games in a row. But what do you think that line would be today, Jim, if they played that game?
Well, if they played it today, Seattle would definitely be favored because of the injuries. But, in 6 weeks, when the playoffs begin, I'm going to ask this to Greg because Greg's more tied in to the injuries and what the potential of his people coming back. We don't know who's going to get hurt between now and then, but we might have an idea of who might be coming back. Now, Tampa Bay has not played one game this year healthy. They have been one of the more injured teams in the league, and they've done okay, but they've been slipping, no question about it. And of course, the last game, Baker got a little banged up with the shoulder, but in reality, all Tampa Bay really needs to do is beat the Panthers, and they get to play them twice in the next few weeks. If they beat the Panthers, they're in, and that's all they have to do, and they get one of the top seeds because they're a division winner. That's crazy as it is, even though they haven't been playing well. But Greg, in your opinion, are any of these injured players for Tampa coming back by the time the playoffs start?
Well, we're supposed to see Irving next week, but again, I don't see that as a position on their team that is a major difference maker. The obviously Mayfield could play this week, so we know that. There's really only 2 players. That's it. 2 players that need to come back. Everybody else won't come back, and that's Ben Bredeson, the guard, and Hassan Reddick, the edge rusher. That is it. So it's Irving, Bredeson, Reddick. Everyone else who's out won't be coming back. They're playing. So they're really starting to get healthier. Bredeson should be back any week now, and Reddick will be back any week now. So the hope is if they don't have any more injuries, they will have in about a week or two, they will have everybody back that needs to be back this season.
And this is likely to be the matchup regardless, because the second place team in the NFC West, whether it be the Rams, who are leading right now, or Seattle, who is second, will probably have between 11 and 13 wins, and would be the team that would visit that number 4 team, which will be the winner of the NFC South. And Tampa Bay might be fortunate to get to 10 wins, assuming it's Tampa Bay or Carolina.
This would be if they get healthy and they're a home dog to Seattle in the playoffs. With their pedigree, and Baker is a performer, a high-level performer. He's not going to choke. He will not see ghosts on the field, as Darnold has done in the past. I'm going to have to say this would be an awesome home underdog in the playoffs. This would be fantastic play. But
might they make this a pick'em for that reason?
Well, yeah, I'd have to say if I'm going to play a 4-point underdog, I have to play him at pick'em as well. But the overall body of work would have to, unless something dramatically changes over the next 6 weeks, Seattle would have to be the favorite. But
well, if it were this weekend, Jim, yes, they have to be favored going in this weekend.
Absolutely.
Right.
Keep in mind that Seattle will have won games in a division where the Rams and possibly San Francisco will make the playoffs, as opposed to Tampa Bay will have played in a division, and we don't know what the results will be because they still have to play some division games, where the next best team might be a very mediocre Carolina team that's been outscored by something like 40-something points despite their record. And, of course, Atlanta and New Orleans are nothing. So Seattle will be on the road having faced a better set of competition to get their record, versus not just that Tampa Bay's a number 4 seed, but Tampa Bay will have played in the weakest division, certainly in the NFC.
Let me ask you,
Jim.
If you had to pick just the quarterback, do you want Darnold or Mayfield?
Mayfield.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is the remember we mentioned this the other day. This is the remaining schedule for Tampa Bay. They're now through with that murderous month of teams they've had to play. Right now, if you take a look at their next 6 opponents, the opponent with the best record is Carolina. Every other team they're playing has a losing record in the last 6 games of the season.
And Carolina's, I won't say a bogus team, but like I say, they've been outscored by 40-something points, which is not something you would expect of a team that's playing 500 football and has to do with the competition.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, so with Tampa getting healthier and with this healthier schedule, they could easily be a 10 or 11 win team when it's all said and done.
Well, does it if Baker Mayfield were to play, Jim, would the injury that he has to his non-throwing shoulder, would that weigh into your decision upon backing in this week or not?
Conspiracy theorist Jim Feist, here we go. They were getting smashed by the Rams. I'm a smart coach. I'm a smart guy. Baker's been roughed up a lot because of the offensive line. It's been a long season. He gets banged up a little bit. Hey, let's sit him down. We don't need this game, and we're not going to win it anyway. We can't.
And we might need the backup futures because of Baker's condition. So give him the playing time. You're right.
And let's not get Baker hurt. We don't need this game, and likely is we're not going to win it. So let's put him down. And we might even sit him this week against Arizona because we don't need this game either. All we have to do is win against the Panthers. That's all we have to do.
Great point. 2 big games against the Carolina Panthers will go the long, long way toward deciding that winner in that NFC South, unquestionably.
And by the way, who's the Panthers playing the next 6 weeks?
Murderers Row?
Well, Tampa Bay twice.
I can pop that up for you. Let's see.
Tampa Bay once.
Oh, by the way, as I'm putting up the Carolina schedule, Tampa Bay, there is the possibility something that they didn't think was going to happen. There's a possibility that Kalijah Cansey is going to return. And he's one of their better young defensive linemen. He's an interior defensive lineman who they lost early on in the season. They thought he was gone for the year. Now there's reports that he could very well return by the end of the season, which would be big for them. So here's Carolina's schedule. They got a bye next week, and then they have the 2 against Tampa, 1 against Seattle, and then 1 at New Orleans.
And don't they have to play the Rams this week?
Yes.
Yeah, after this week, that's what will be coming forward, right?
Tampa Bay has a very, very favorable schedule. They are likely to go, and maybe even be favored to go 5-1 at worst.
And
Splitting the games with Carolina.
Carolina could go 1-4.
Yeah.
I rest my case.
I'm reading between the lines for a future side to win that division on the Tampa Bay Bucks from Mr. Jim Feist.
Well, I did that. Greg knows that I did that way back in June.
Yes.
And by the way, it does look like Bucky Irving will play this week, so that's even better. So Godwin's already back. Mayfield's supposed to play. Irving's supposed to play. So the only guy left now is Bredesen. And then they're going to have as complete as an offensive unit as they've had all season.
Well, Jim, let me ask you this. I think all in all, grading the schedules week to week to week, this is one of the poorest in the National Football League that I've come across in a long time.
Other than the 4 games this yesterday and today.
Well, yeah, because you strip those out of the schedule, and this is what you're left with. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. You play some 4 good teams on Thanksgiving Thursday, and you're left with garbage for the rest of the week. Do you find it handicapping games like this, Jim, where you have to decide between 2 bad teams? Does that make you a little bit more uncomfortable, or will you just kind of continue to look for the edge?
Well, when they're bad teams, I don't look for who's going to win. I look at the totals, and I look at the props, because I don't like betting on bad teams for or against them, because it's impossible to know what these are. Players that barely are in the league. They may not be getting good coaching. They may not have a good head coach. They may not have a good offensive or defensive coordinator. There's a lot of reasons that a team could be bad or underperforming. But I don't agree that there's no good games.
2 good games: Texans, Colts, Bills, Steelers.
Well, 3 games matching up winning teams from that standpoint.
Well, if you look at this Houston-Indianapolis game, this is huge. This is a huge game for playoff positioning.
It's one of the 3, right?
And you have arguably, and this is a lot of people would argue this because they're only one of the best defenses in the league, and that's Houston. They're incredible on defense, and Stroud is supposed to play this week.
Well, that sounds like a lot of love will be coming to the Houston Texans, although our producer, I happen to know, I have inside information. He likes the Indianapolis Colts. Am I correct?
Well, he also likes the Jets.
No, I wouldn't say that. No. Actually, I do like the Jets this week. But as far as the Houston Colt game, the thing to keep in mind, though, is that Daniel Jones is banged up now. And that's always been the knock on him. And so this has to be scaring
1 hit
the hell
and
out
he's
of
out of the game with a broken fibula. 1 hit, he's out of the game.
Colts fans are really, really nervous right now, because that means they're 1 play away from bringing Anthony Richardson back. and
isn't he on IR?
Richardson
still?
I don't know about that. I think he's ready to return. So I do know, though, that's another schedule, by the way. That Colts schedule is pretty brutal. So they better have their quarterback ready to go, because that right now, again, this is interesting. 4 of their last 6 games for the Colts are against either Houston or Jacksonville. 4 of their last 6. The 2 teams chasing them, they're going to play them 4 times in the last 6 weeks of the season.
Hard to see them going 3-1.
And you know what the other 2 games are?
Hard to see them going
Seattle
3-1 in those games.
And San Francisco.
This is the Colts?
Colts.
Wow.
So just imagine, even if they lost Daniel Jones for like 2 games, that could be a death knell.
I don't like giving away stuff. I mean, we shouldn't give away all our stuff, but I mean, our lawyer listeners, I'm going to give you this. I think Houston wins this game straight up.
Yep. Agreed.
I second that. I know Greg won't, but I do. I make that 3.
And I played it before the news on Daniel Jones.
And we don't have to listen to Greg because he's a Jet fan. And
I'm not picking the Colts.
Jet fans.
I don't know where Mark's getting this from. By the way, this is the first home game at Lucas Oil since October the 26th, 5 weeks ago. Indianapolis has not been at home And if you look at it too, both teams actually pretty good in division play. Houston 11-2 in the last 13 straight up. And the Colts have covered 7 of the last 8 versus division opponents. But Houston's got the edge because they've beaten the Colts 3 straight times.
Well, my earlier rant against the Colts is going full circle.
It's coming true now, Mark.
It's going full circle. They coughed up another season-high yardage against Kansas City in their overtime loss. They allowed nearly 500 yards in the football game.
You just said it in the wrong week.
In the wrong week, yeah.
Yeah, you needed to say it the very week after that. Yeah, that's it. You know how timing is. Well, that's okay. We haven't recorded. We'll bring it back.
It's just a warning, a precursor for this week is all I'm saying, okay? That defense against the number 1 defense in the National Football League, and that defense is laying points. Case closed for me. Okay.
You mean the defense is getting points?
The number 1's getting points from what I contend to be a rotten defense, but who I think is going to begin unraveling. They've lost 3 games in a row, or no, 2 of their last 3 games the Colts have. So, we'll see where they end up. I don't think they're going to be the number 3 seed out of the AFC, which is where they're sitting right now.
When did they find out about that broken fibula about Daniel Jones? They had about a note for that for a while. Isn't that medical malpractice if he's been playing with it?
Who trusts these NFL execs anymore? Let's pop up the division because keep this in mind. Again, what I just said. Houston, because they're a game behind Jacksonville. Okay. And so it's Indy, Jacksonville, Houston. So look at the odds to win the division. Houston 7-1. Let's keep in mind of course, all they have to do, but if they beat the Colts twice, they're tied and they win the tiebreaker.
Yep.
So they're 7-1. Now, of course, they'd have to beat the Jacksonville Jags too, but that's okay because they still have the Jags on their schedule. Matter of fact, I think they also have, I think it's a 2-game, if I'm not mistaken. No, it's not 1. They'll be playing each other one more time, Jacksonville and Houston. So, And Jacksonville did beat Houston, so they do have a little bit of an edge at this point. But if Houston evens up the series, wouldn't this be a pretty good wager, guys?
Those are very attractive odds. And looking at what you're showing with the server time, that's like right now those odds are there. I think part of it is if you take a look at the schedule for Houston, in addition to playing the Colts twice, they also have games at Kansas City and at the Chargers. So it is a difficult route for them compared to Indianapolis's schedule. Although Seattle and San Francisco will be difficult. One of those, the San Francisco game is at home. And of course, they just played Indianapolis. So maybe those odds seem very long for a team that is 2-time defending champion, has won a playoff game, AFC South champion, and has won a playoff game in each of those 2 years. And I believe they were both rather comfortable against division winner, against Cleveland, I think, was a wild card a couple of years ago, and then against the Chargers in that blowout game last year. This team
will be dogs in all 3 of those games, too, guys. By the way,
and remember, it's also DeMeco Ryans has been an outstanding coach. This is just his 3rd year, and he's already won 2 division titles.
Yeah, from a coaching standpoint, I like the coach of Houston better. Stroud, I think, is as good or better than the other 2 quarterbacks.
And he's probable this week now.
I don't think. Well, I'm not a big fan of Lawrence. He's been around 6 years. He's never really lived up to expectation. And Danny Dimes is having the first good year he's had. So we don't know about that either. And like you pointed out, Andy, this team has won this division. I gotta say Houston's the right side here now for this game and for the division. Houston
will be at Kansas City next week.
And what did you say Houston's division odds are, Greg, to win the
7-1?
7-1. And what are the Colts?
-215, I think it said.
Oh, there's the pure value to Houston.
Tremendous.
-210, yeah.
Yes.
And then Indianapolis will be at Jacksonville next week.
Andy, let me ask you this question. I know the Circa Survivor is winding down. I don't know how many people got bumped out with Baltimore yesterday.
It's about 269, if I remembered correctly. And in fact, all 8 of the teams that played yesterday, because you had to play one of the 8 teams, so you had to save them in that contest. Westgate Survivor is different, and all 8 teams received some action. So obviously those who were on the Ravens lost. That was the biggest one, 269. I think 78 lost. By the way, there were exactly, I believe it was 900 who were alive going into this week. 78 were on the on the Lions. I think it was just a handful on the Chiefs. I think maybe one, if I remember, or a small amount, and the other one was on the which was the
Baltimore.
Well, yeah, that was the big one, but the other one that it's the game today that are on the 469 are on the let's see if we can make a second half comeback, Philadelphia Eagles.
Andy, who would you think will be on this remaining card, or this would be its own separate week in the Circa contest? Thanksgiving week is a week all unto itself. Of the games that are being played on Sunday, who, in your mind, would be the likeliest top choice in this Survivor contest this week?
It depends on the availability of the teams that players have already used, and I don't have that. I'll see if I can get it during one of the segments here, the availability. But based just obviously upon the line, you'd have to think Seattle at home against Minnesota and the quarterbackless Vikings would be a chance. But I think a lot of people have already used Seattle this season. You might have some support, even though it's a road game. They're just so much better than the opponent. The Rams against the Panthers would seem to be what would be a very popular pick. And you would have to think, although there's been a coaching change and sometimes you get a little bit of a bump, at least offensive coordinator change, you'd have to think a lot of people will be on the Chargers against the Raiders.
Here, I'm going to give you a great Survivor stat, Andy. Whether it works or not this week, it is what it is. In my database, looking at NFL teams from game 11 out, they played 10 games. You have an 800 or better home favorite playing a sub 250 opponent. Those teams are 34-2 straight up.
So that would be the Chargers.
No, that would be the New England Patriots.
Oh, the Patriots against the Giants. Okay,
yes,
yeah.
It would be the New England Patriots.
Right, the Chargers don't have the 800, yeah.
Right, that's correct.
Patriots do, yeah.
That's correct. So what game is it, Andy, that catches your attention on the card this week then?
Well, the two that I mentioned before, the Texans and the Colts, which we talked about, and I love their defense. I got it at the 4.5 before. This was one of the plays that I knew before the week, barring any injury that occurred between then and the time I made the play, that I'd be on the Texans because I like them to win this game. They are playing like we talked about before, their experience edge is really good. He did a lot of things you've said over the past few weeks about the Colts, but yeah, this is a good matchup, I think, for the Houston Texans. Mills didn't play poorly in his few games, and so I mean, if he had to play, although Stroud is listed as probable, not normal, but probable, makes it good. The other one that caught my eye, I'll just throw this one out here because we already talked about this one. Buffalo laying the 3 points, I believe it is still, at the Steelers. I think this is a game where, despite some of the defensive vulnerabilities of the Bills, although they are getting healthy, I think they're going up a Pittsburgh team that is not playing as well as perhaps we would have thought they are playing. And of course, they still have, Pittsburgh does, 2 games against Baltimore coming up. And I think right now they are tied, although a Steeler win would give them the outright lead. I think they were tied, and Baltimore was in first place because of the tiebreakers. But now with the loss last night, it does open up for the Steelers. But I just think this is still a very good Buffalo team, and I would take Josh Allen over Aaron Rodgers.
Do you think Aaron Rodgers will be a spike for Pittsburgh, this particularly coming back into the lineup?
We guess the wrist is still hurting him, but it is his non-throwing hand, so it might not be affected. I'm sure it'll be taped up, or if they want to get a little cute with some of the defensive people, maybe in a cast.
Well, it might be an issue for holding onto the ball and not dropping it, not fumbling, things like that.
Yeah.
It's possible. It certainly won't affect his passing, but it could affect that.
And Jim, you're talking about injuries to quarterbacks. Baker Mayfield, shoulder injury, left shoulder, non-throwing. How much will that physically affect him in his play?
Baker?
Yes, Baker.
I'm not sure he's going to play, honestly. I don't know.
I think they'd be foolish to play him looking at their schedule coming up.
If I were the coach, I would not play him because they if you look at the metrics, everything about this, they do not need this game. And the Cardinals can put up a lot of points, which means they'll have to put up a lot of points, which means Baker's going to have to do a lot of scrambling, a lot of throwing. I would not play him. That's just me. But Toma asked the question. My wife is from Cleveland, and no, she will not be betting Cleveland.
She will not be betting Cleveland.
but I bet Cleveland under at 39.5, which you cannot find anymore.
Well, they're all defense. We know that, the Browns.
And
that's for sure.
Terrible weather there also.
Yeah, horrible weather. That's why I moved from Cleveland to South Florida. Because
Mark is a very intelligent man.
You traded bad weather for bad football team.
Well, I think I might have left a bad football team as well.
Yeah.
That's true. The odds makers actually believe pretty strongly that the Bucks that Mayfield is going to start, because that line moved up a couple of points in the last day or two.
Where are you showing? Just still at 3?
4.5.
Oh, 4.5.
Yeah.
I like Jim's rationale.
Yeah,
the Carolina games are much more
Greg
important.
Is right. I don't think they're. Well, actually, is that 4.5 now? Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what I heard was just from what I heard is that the injury is about pain, and so it's one of those injuries that really just has to do with Baker. You can play, it's the only issue is, can you deal with the pain?
Well, I'm showing largely here in Vegas and even at Pinnacle 3.5 as the line. There are a couple of places I'm showing Boyd here in Vegas and DraftKings at 4.5, but here in Vegas it's almost 3.5 across the board.
Well, sharper lines in Vegas, but
DraftKings, FanDuel, those are square joints. Right.
If Buccaneers win and the Rams win, I mean that does help their situation, no question, and you don't have to worry as much about dealing with the Panthers, but. This division's almost locked up.
Well, what they could do is, based on, again, like you said, Jim, guessing that Carolina is going to lose is not a bad guess considering who they're playing. So I think it would be pretty safe to say, if you're going by that kind of thinking, that you would say to yourself, yeah, because even Baker said it himself. He said it this week. He said that he needs to be smart. He understands the big picture. It's about the playoffs. It's not about this week. So you are getting, from his point of view, what he's saying, it's almost like you're feeling like, well, maybe he's going to be smart about it. Maybe he's going to sit out. But I don't know.
But you look at the game, and Brissett's played pretty well. They're putting up a lot of points. If with this line, I would have to think about taking the Cardinals. You have the Buccaneers that are banged up. They've got so many players hurt. You got Baker potentially hurt. Now we should talk about Shedeur Sanders. Everybody's putting him in the Hall of Fame because of that one pass he threw. I think we should wait on that a little bit.
Who's doing that?
Huh?
Who's doing that?
Dion.
Yeah, he doesn't count.
Well, Kendrick Perkins, did you see his comment about Shedeur Sanders?
Yeah, I don't think he counts either.
I did not.
He thinks he's the most valuable black athlete playing the game today.
Oh, my Lord. Someone shut him up.
Yes.
Really?
By the way, as far as Baker Mayfield goes, he is being smart, and the Bucks would be smart because keep in mind, they have 2 games, although it's in week 16 and 18, against Carolina. They win those 2 games, they're in. I would not want to risk injury and not be available for those 2 games. Not now, assuming he's healthy before then, of course, you'd want to get him in there before. But, yeah, the game this week, against a non-division conference foe who's not threatening for a wild card, basically does make this game not worth taking that risk. And again, you get a chance to play a backup quarterback who you might need in some situation. Play him in a situation like this.
Exactly.
Speaking of the weather, there is one weather game in the NFL. It's not snow, even though there are some potential snow games or potential rain games. But
that eliminates Dolphins and Saints.
Yeah, the one rain game though, and there is some rain possibilities. That's definite, is going to be the Jet game, And they're also talking about 42 and cold. So you got an indoor team in Atlanta going to the New Jersey, playing in the rain and the cold. So that and also with a 38-year-old quarterback trying to play in that weather.
Well,
So,
Greg, Cleveland has really bad weather. It's snowing there right now.
Yeah, they're saying that the forecast for Sunday's game though is just a chance of snow, but the wind is going to be high. They're talking about 20-mile-an-hour gusts.
Well, that's the biggest issue. You got 20 mile an hour. You got a rookie, very, very young quarterback, and you got Purdy, who doesn't like playing in wet weather. He doesn't grip the ball well. Now, we saw last week in dry weather, he almost threw 5 interceptions. He did throw 3 successfully. Threw 3. He tried to throw 5.
Hey guys, let me jump in here. I just found that quote by Kendrick Perkins. I want to read it to everybody. He's sort of a man of his own opinion, that's for sure. But he was doing a podcast and he stated, Shedeur Sanders is the most powerful black man since 2009. You know what happened in 2009? That's when President Obama got elected in office. He's the most powerful black man since 2009. I ain't ran across one black person that said one bad thing about Shedeur. Not one. Because he has the balance. He has the balance and of I'm not arrogant, I'm humble, is what he said. He goes on further to say, and he has some fun with this shit. He's the most powerful black man in sports. Matter of fact, he's the most powerful player in sports. That was Kendrick Perkins on Shedeur Sanders.
Did they drug test him right after the quote?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I mean, come on.
There are a few people.
Holy crap!
I think he's more powerful than say Saquon Barkley or Lamar Jackson. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and this is just football. He says sports.
Yeah, I know. Michael Jordan's still pretty powerful, even though he's out of the game. Magic Johnson is still, take a look at their bank
Michael
accounts.
Jordan's in a big lawsuit and
NASCAR.
Against NASCAR. So he is still pretty much big in sports. Absolutely.
Hey, Jim, before I let you go, we're going to move on to the college football side of things. Any final thought you have on the NFL football card? A thought, a selection, a pick, aside, something that our listeners would like to hear from you?
Oh, boy.
That you haven't expounded on already.
Yeah, I think I did talk about. I think the Rams are right now at this point the best team in football. I think Philadelphia's playing with their food. Kansas City's going to miss the playoffs. There's a chance, even though slim, that Bengals could actually
make the playoffs.
Win that division. It's possible. But Buffalo's going to have to beat Pittsburgh, and the Ravens going to have to play the way they played last night. Surprise, surprise, surprise. The last 2 weeks, Dallas has beaten Philadelphia and Kansas City, and that's one hell of a thing. Since they were both in the Super Bowl last year, and this is the team that gave away a great player and were criticized the high hell about it, but they played pretty damn good. Dak is playing at an MVP level, no question. If he doesn't win the MVP, he should definitely win the comeback player of the year because he's playing out of his mind. There's a lot of interesting stories. I don't know what to say about the Lions losing their centers. That's a big one. Their center's coming back. I don't know what kind of shape he's going to be in, but he is on retiring. That's big.
Craig Ragdown?
Greg, Greg can talk a little bit about that. But they did lose their offensive and defensive coordinator, and it's really showing a lot. And it shows you how difficult it is to replace people.
Yeah, because it means Campbell is making a lot of bad decisions in his place.
Yeah, he is.
Jim, let me ask you this question. I want to ask, and Greg and Mark as well, how much, if any, do you think the impact of Kansas City getting blown out in the Super Bowl the way they did has carried over this year, either to their play or in opponents being able to take a look and exploit some of the vulnerabilities that Philadelphia exploited in the Super Bowl?
I think it matters. I think, first of all, being division winners 9 straight years, 5 out of 6 in the Super Bowl means they play a lot of extra games. And not only the extra games, but the extra practices. And they're getting older. So it's kind of like a similar crew of players playing extra games for 5 straight years in the Super Bowl. It makes a difference. And I think they might be worn out because they certainly have not played up to expectations this year. And last year they won 10 games by in
small margins,
1-score games.
Yep.
I mean, there's a lot of wear and tear, and they all have fat pocketbooks, and that weighs you down as well, mentally, physically. You're not as hungry, and there's hungry people out there, and I bet Denver to win that division at the beginning of the year. I think I'm right on it, and I thought the Chargers would finish second. And that might happen, but their offensive line is so terrible. And the Raiders are a lot worse than I ever thought they'd be, but they're awful. They might be the worst team in football, honestly. But these are comments I have. I mean, it's all over. I mean, I lived the NFL, and some of the quality out there is really bad.
Well, the Raiders, Jim, happen to be my big ugly dog of the week, Bud. The big ugly dog, the Raiders, and they are ugly.
And you may need to drink a few buds if you're backing them, though, this week. Keep that in mind as well.
I got something to say. Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, I had Lou Finicaro on the show, and I never bet these, but Lou is he doesn't mind going against the grain. He doesn't mind. Do you know him, Mark?
Yes.
Okay.
I've spoken a couple of times, not personally, but I know him. Yes.
Yes, but he is. I really like him. But he plays a lot. This is something, and I learned from him in this conversation. I have always played 2-team teasers, and the prices on the 2-team teasers, as Andy can tell you, have really been jacked up from what they used to be to what they are now.
They used to be even money, and now some places you're making you lay minus 125. As high as that.
In one place, 135. It's absurd. So Lou said he saw that and he got mad at it, and he said, because he liked playing teasers, he said, I'm going to play 10-point teasers because they haven't changed the odds. So he looks at 10-point teasers, but he focuses mostly on the
now those are 3-teamers, correct? You have to have 3 teams?
3 teams, and it's 10 points. So this is kind of a lesson to all the people out there. So we had this conversation, pretty deep conversation about it, and then Andy and I had a conversation about it, and Andy did some research, and I shared that with Lou. So this is a lesson from 3 guys that do nothing but this. So I said, if you're moving the line 10 points, and it's such a dog era right now, why not look at the underdogs? And now I've played since that conversation 3 weeks ago.
You mean move that underdog 10 points is what you're saying?
Yes. I've played 8 3-team 10-point teasers since that conversation with Lou. I'm 8-0. Okay. So folks, take a look at that. Think about it. And of course, on ProLine, we have, you click the button, click the join button.
By the way, did you play it yesterday? Because you're definitely 3-0 because they won outright.
Oh, absolutely, guy.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I did. Now, you can play it with totals also. You don't need to play just the sides. You can do it with totals. So I'm already pretty damn good with totals. So now you put that into the mix. So I don't know where I was going with that, but in any case, that's
a great lesson, Jim. A great observation on his part, the fact that 3-team teasers have not been violated, haven't been destroyed for pricing. Right. And like you're saying, look at the dog in those plays instead of moving the favorite back down. That's really, really good advice.
Well, it's such a dog year, as all you guys know. It's so many of these dogs win straight up anyway. Why bother with the favorites? Just stick with the dogs. Now, that might change at the end of the season because you're dealing with better teams, and the bad teams are going to be leaving the field. They're not going to be in the mix. But it's the last few, 8-0. I don't mind that record at all.
Hey, Jim, here, real quick before you go, Toma, 8883, wanted to know, he asked you mentioned your wife is from Cleveland. Does she bet, and will she be on Cleveland plus 4.5?
Years ago, she used to bet football. She also played a lot of poker. She played several times in the World Series of Poker. Mark, you know her.
Yes.
She doesn't do that. She's pretty busy with her decorating and design business. And she's never been a fan of the Cleveland Browns. Of course, I admire her for that because they're so damn bad. But no, she will not be She will not be betting them. I will not be betting them because I don't know much about Shedeur and what he's doing. But I do like the under a lot.
Well, remember, the most powerful black man in sports. Okay, Shedeur. Okay.
I am not going to side with that comment.
By the way, Jim, to your point, just to point out how bad some of these teams are, we are 2/3 of the way through the season and 1/4 of the league. Okay, we're talking 18. What is it? 3 wins or less. A quarter of the league, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4 more teams with 4 losses.
So you're talking,
and we're 2/3 of the way through the season.
Oh my God, that's 12 teams.
Yeah, 4 wins or less. Meaning, and if you have 4 wins, and if you play 2/3, mathematically that works out to 6 and 11.
I love
at the end of the year.
I love the NFL. I love the competition. I love what we saw. We saw 3 pretty good games yesterday. I love that. But this is a bad. Honest to God, it's just a bad product. It's just a bad product. It's nobody's fault. There's not that many talented players. Offensive
or coaches.
Offensive line is weak. The quarterback situation is weak. The coaching sometimes is weak. So you have a bad product right now. It's not very good.
And it's all the injuries as well.
That too.
And what can you really can't. I think that they should change some of the rules also because you're calling a lot of penalties in these games on infractions that could be called either way. For example, pass interference can be called either way because they're jostling down the field. I've never felt that there should be any penalty for illegal motion. Let the team do whatever it wants to do as far as setting up on offense.
Well, that's a discussion for another day.
Hey, Jim, I'm going to let you go this time for sure, okay? And just in response to the person that asked Jim about how well he made out on Thanksgiving Day and does he like dogs, and he said, sure, I cleaned up yesterday. The proof is in the pudding. He's sitting in a brand new car today, okay?